Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 2nd, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I decided to take a personal day, and so far it's been really nice. I went ahead and did my rent, stuff, did that. And then let's see, I decided that I was like, oh, I'm already out. Let me go ahead and just run to Kroger. I decided to get some like little things I forgot. So that was nice. We love a little quaint errand run. Yeah, I've just been chilling, doing a little card gaming, stuff like that. Got my workout in. So yeah, it's nice. A lot of times I just kind of like just going out on a lark and just literally doing nothing. That's what I mean by that, I guess. I used to go out and, maybe go out, take myself out to get food or, do this thing or that thing or maybe find another friend that happens to be off or, what have you. But nowadays, I just like just staying home and just playing hooky that way. You know what I mean? But yeah, let me see here. Food corner from last night. It was very yummy, actually. I made my take on a banh mi two times. But they were two pork banh mi's, and I put like banana peppers, jalapenos. I had a little bit of like pickle relish that I put in there, kind of to sub out for the cucumber. I put in some carrots. I had bacon on it as well. Some like spinach, lettuce kind of situation. It was very yummy. I will say I kind of made it a little bit of a skill issue. I kind of over seasoned a bit, and it was very very spicy. But I really didn't mind. I really did not mind. So it was great. I really enjoyed it. And let's see, I had a side of fries and a few onion rings with it. It was a chef's kiss. That knocked it out of the park. I know I'm starting off early, but that might be the meal of the month. Who knows? Maybe. I know it's kind of early, but that's gonna be hard to top. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead, do my startup. I will say my pregame was maybe a little too strong here, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna rally. All right. Ooh, from Axios, top Iranian general killed by Israeli airstrike. An Israeli airstrike killed a top Iranian general as it targeted a building near the Iranian embassy in Damascus, two sources familiar told Axios. This is a major blow to Iran as uh, Brigadier General Mohammad Reza Zahidi was the commander of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, Quds Force in Syria and Lebanon. The general was the key Iranian military official in charge of relations with Hezbollah in Lebanon and the pro Iranian militias in Syria. According to the Iranian media, five other IRGC officials were killed in the strike, including Zahidi's Deputy General Mohammad Had, Hajrizi Himi, Iranian Foreign Minister Hassan Amir Adol Hanian accused Israel of Zahidi's assassination and stressed that Israel will be responsible for the consequences. So, Israel, is really on a tear, especially this week. They're really just pulling out all the stops. There's going to be another story I'm about to cover here in a second. But, we definitely talked about them yesterday. I was like, okay, I know it's already a lot, but this is, it's almost like a fucking hat trick, if you will. So this came up. Let's see what else did I want to cover. From the Associated Press, World Central Kitchen charity halts Gaza operations after Israeli strike kills 7 workers. An Israeli airstrike killed 7 aid workers from World Central Kitchen, leading the charity to suspend delivery Tuesday of vital food aid to Gaza, where Israel's offensive has pushed hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to the brink of starvation. Ships still laden with 240 tons of aid arrived just a day earlier, turned back from Gaza, according to Cyprus, which has played a key role in trying to establish a sea route to bring food to the territory. Israel has only allowed a trickle of aid into devastated northern Gaza, where experts say famine is imminent, which is very frustrating here because this is like a stark example of how they say, hey, we are allowing aid in. It's actually on these organizations who are actually fucking up. When really it's like, no, like I've told you before, it's been stated that you guys are literally holding up aid and sometimes even turning people back. And now you have the situation where this is just once again a clear example, not the only example, by the way, of aid workers literally being targeted and killed. Like, what are you doing here? And it's like, oh, well, we'll mount an investigation. You have here Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu acknowledged that the country's forces had carried out the unintended strike on innocent people. He said, which is crazy that it takes like, oh, well, now that there are Western countries involved, their civilians are involved here, we have to say this. Like, there's been plenty of innocent people involved here, but you can always try to like throw it up and chalk it up to the miasma of, oh, it was Hamas actually, you know, so this is a justified killing, even though we don't even know if this is a Hamas member that's getting killed or not, an actual terrorist or not. And not to mention, that should not even fucking matter. This kind of mass killing that is happening right now. That should never justify it. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Footage showed the bodies, several wearing protective gear with the charity's logo, at a hospital in the central Gaza town of Deir al-Balah. Those killed include 3 British nationals, an Australian, a Polish national, and an American-Canadian dual citizen, and a Palestinian, according to hospital records. Other footage of the aftermath of the strike showed a vehicle with the charity's logo printed across its roof to make it identifiable from the air. The projectile had punched a large hole through the roof. I don't see how you just accidentally do this. Or it just literally looks like bloodlust. Like, I don't know how else to word it. We're just gonna hit anything that moves. Like, why not? You have nothing to lose apparently if you're the IDF. And what are they going to lose? What action is going to come of either of these two actions? Not to mention, like I said, the Al-Shifa hospital, which, you know, at the end of the day, they're like, well, there were terrorists there. You know what I mean? It's all justified, even though this is a hospital of innocent fucking people. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to be like, okay, that was a big thing. Maybe let's let it rest, let it breathe. But no, this shit is nonstop. It does not stop. And sometimes I do feel like it's important to not let up. Like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm taking up half of my coverage for today just to talk about this shit. But wait, there's more. Let's see if I can fucking find it here. About the airstrikes. Now, there's a highlighted portion. Let me actually get to that. I'm sorry. On Monday, 3 aid ships from the Mediterranean island nation of Cyprus arrived with some 400 tons of food and supplies organized by World Central Kitchen and the United Arab Emirates following a pilot run last month. Cypriot Foreign Ministry spokesperson Theodoros Gosis said Tuesday that around 100 tons of aid had been unloaded before the charity suspended operations, and that the remaining 240 tons of aid would be taken back to Cyprus. So that's an unfortunate hiccup there. I mean, granted, we are still talking about like drops in the bucket, but I do feel like, you know, it's important to note that at least some aid did get through. But this is the point I was trying to get to before I sidetracked myself a bit. 2 other apparent Israeli strikes late Monday killed at least 16 Palestinians, including 5 children in Rafah, where Israel has vowed to expand its ground operation. They're still, once again, not letting go of this. They're like, we have to go. We have to complete this. This is the only way. It's the only way we'll go total victory. There's no total victory in this. You're just doing a mass genocide. You're just doing an ethnic cleansing. You're doing wave after wave of this shit. Shaving off human beings. For what? So that maybe you can get settlers on a beach one day? Some fuck shit like that? Some fucking like, oh, chalked up religious reasons? It's insane to me. And I know, I've seen it. There are going to be people like, no, we are defending ourselves. Don't forget October 7th. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are forgetting a whole fucking lot of history here. But, you know, they're gonna say what they say, and people are gonna rally around that. I choose not to personally, but it is what it is. I just wanted to make sure I got this shit in and did the coverage, my due diligence. Let's go ahead and move on to, I want to say good news. It's a bit of good news. I want to say more of a step in the right direction is really what we should call it. Let me actually do a little water break here. Lord knows it's good to hydrate. All right. From the Associated Press. New $20 minimum wage for fast food workers in California is set to start Monday. So first up, clap it up. We love to see it. We love to see people making more money. I know there might be some people who are, oh, wow, I can't believe there are people at McDonald's making $20 to get my order wrong. Blow me, dude. Like, fucking suck one. That's incredible. If you think like that, you're in the wrong place. Don't. Just leave. Why don't you just turn around and go? I think this is a great thing. At the end of the day, these people are providing a service for you. They should be allowed a living wage. And I need to stress that $20 an hour in California is not a living wage. I know some people might think that, but you're delusional. Like, you don't know the cost of a banana, and you know that. So at the end of the day, once again, that's why I say it's a step in the right direction. I think something like $25 in California is probably what you need to kind of be living in a way that's like, hey, I'm on stable ground. Maybe it would take like 2 catastrophes to really knock me on my ass and I wouldn't get up. You know what I mean? That's around there. But I know we are leagues from that. But I know when people hear that, especially when you're not in California, you're somewhere else in the world, or just even, a little further east, you might think, oh, like, that's so much money. They should be grateful for just that. But when really it's like, no, like, this should just be this beginning. But people are really like up in arms about this. And so I definitely wanted to kind of get into it a little bit, talk it up, and once again, just clap it up as well. Say, hey, hip hop hooray for that. Most fast food workers in California will be paid at least $20 an hour beginning Monday, when a new law is scheduled to kick in, giving more financial security to an historically low paying profession, while threatening to raise prices in a state already known for its high cost of living. Democrats in the state legislature passed the new law last year, in part as an acknowledgement that many of the more than 500,000 people who work in fast food restaurants are not teenagers earning some spending money, but adults working to support their families. Goddamn right. And even if they were teenagers, you're doing grueling goddamn work. You should see a real wage. Like, I hate this idea of like, oh, if you're working some kind of quote unquote menial job, it should be like an internship to working or some shit. And like, next thing you know, what? I'm going to work until I get some like cool CEO job and I'm going to be the next Elon Musk. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, it's weird that people have this like, just this capitalistic piggy mentality of how the world works. And I'm like, yeah, that's just what we should be doing as people. And it's like, no, dude, no one wants to do this soul-sucking shit, all this fucking toil for no goddamn pay. Like, no, pay me what I'm fucking worth. And then you hear these, and you see these people who are working, or these owners who are like, I was thinking of expanding, and now look at me. I'm in the poorhouse. Like, we're going to have to potentially close up shop. And it's like, if you cannot afford to pay these people at least this, then goddamn right, I'm sorry, close up shop. Let these people go to a place that they can get a living wage, goddamn it, or at least something better. Like, that mentality of like, we're going to be driven out of work and, this is only going to make things worse is a terrible mentality to have. I'm sorry. And it does look like that it doesn't even support by the statistics. It seems that more or less the unemployment rate hasn't gone up, that people are staying in their jobs. Essentially, another thing that sucks and that maybe even customers are, crying and, bitching about, it's like, oh, the cost of the food's gonna go up. Now we're gonna have to pay more money. Yeah, that fucking sucks. Like, that's another fucking problem of this goddamn system. But that being said, fine. I'm okay with having to pay an extra $10 on my, or not $10, I'm sorry, like an extra dime on my Big Mac or whatever the fuck. It's whatever to me. Honestly, at this point, personally, I'm not eating out like that anymore, so I'm cool. I know my shit's gonna get risen on another kind of shit, but, whatever, fuck it. There's some other shit I wanted to pull. I know I just kind of went in full riff mode there. Alex Johnson owns 10 Auntie Anne's pretzels and Cinnabon restaurants in the San Francisco Bay Area. He says sales has slowed in 2024, prompting him to lay off his office staff and rely on his parents to help with his payroll and human resources. Oh no! Oh my gosh! Good. I'm glad they're getting to work. Once again, if you cannot sustain this shit, then let it go, brother. Like, I'm sorry the Cinnabon isn't popping the way that it used to. Like, pay the people what they are worth, period. Moving on that shit. Let me see here. What else did I want to pull? Over the past decade, California has doubled its minimum wage for most of its workers to $16 per hour. A big concern over that time has been whether the increase would cause some workers to lose their jobs as employers' expenses increased. Instead, data showed wages went up and employment did not fall, said Michael Reach, a labor economics professor at the University of California, Berkeley. Also, it was cool to see that like labor was involved here, labor unions were involved here in terms of like once again fighting for the average worker, saying, hey, whether you're a union or not, you should be getting more pay, you should be at least getting something, and the compromise landed on $20 an hour. So once again, I'm happy to see, once again, clap it up for unions getting involved and doing right by us, you know, actually being the thing that raises the boats, you know what I mean, instead of this rising tide of money that just trickles down to who? Nobody. The 1% up there, we never fucking get it. But once again, it's cool to see people like us, workers, fighting for our rights, and that kind of culminating into something. So yeah, you know, and this is coming from a guy who is living in Ohio, and guess what? I am not making $20 an hour. I will tell you that. I will reveal that much to you, okay? But I'm happy to see it. You're not going to hear me bitching. I would love to see these McDonald's workers, these, what is it, In-N-Out, whatever, swanky, cool hamburger shop, fast food, whatever. Get your bag, please, because I want to see somebody make it. I want to see people living, surviving. Like, you know what I mean? Get whatever breathing room you can, because god damn it, dude. Like, society treats us like we're crabs in a goddamn bucket. So you gotta get your paper, you know. We'll leave it there. I want to have one more thing I wanted to talk about here, and we're gonna get racial. We're gonna get scientific a little bit. So that's fun. You know, I excel at that. I don't think I'm gonna cry though, so that's good. No tears for baby on this one. Let me go ahead and take my break, and then we'll go and get into it. Ooh, ooh, with a neck crack. Okay. All right. From the Associated Press, a biased test kept thousands of black people from getting a kidney transplant. It's finally changing. Excuse me. Jasmine Evans had been waiting for a new kidney for 4 years when her hospital revealed shocking news. She should have been put on the transplant list in 2015 instead of 2019, and a racially biased organ test was to blame. And upsetting as the notification was, it also was a part of an unprecedented move to mitigate the racial inequity. Evans is among more than 14,000 black kidney transplant candidates so far given credit for lost waiting time, moving them up the priority list for their transplant. I remember just reading that letter over and over again, Evans said, 29, of Philadelphia, who shared the notice in a TikTok video to educate other patients. How could this happen? Which, I mean, that's what I'm fucking wondering. At issue is a once widely used test that overestimated how black people's kidneys were functioning, making them look healthier than they really were. All because of an automated formula that calculated the results for black and non-black patients differently. The race-based equation could delay diagnosis of organ failure and evaluation for a transplant, exacerbating, excuse me, other disparities that already make Black patients more at risk of needing a new kidney, but less likely to get one. I think it's some kind of dumb hokum race-based science that like was like, oh, we think that like Black people's kidneys make more creatine, and they more or less debunked it, but somehow it was kept in this algorithm, and like, even though they were supposed to have like this race-free equation, they weren't really using it until they were prodded. Um, so they finally do that, and they're like, okay, we see that that's a problem. But what about the people who are on the list that have now been dragged for so long? What are we going to do? So essentially, they said, hey, we'll give you, I think, like about a year to find as many people as you can, and we'll bump them up the list and essentially make them a priority. And I think they were able to find. Let me see if I can get the number. Pool here. The immediate question came up, what about the people on the list right now? You can't just leave them behind, said Dr. Martha Plavlakis of Boston Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and former chair of the network's kidney committee. The Rejoice Justice, I kind of summarized that. Between January of 2023 and mid-March, more than 14,300 Black kidney transplant candidates have had their wait times modified by an average of 2 years, according to the Network of Organ Sharing, which runs the transplant system. So far, more than 2,800 of them, including Evans, have received a transplant. So that is the good news here. So I'm going to call that the silver lining, as we kind of close this down, shut this out. It's still very unfortunate that this has happened, and we definitely still have so much more work to go. Let's see, I know there was maybe one more story I wanted to kind of pull that they had here, if I can get there. I might have missed it. I think I did, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to see some change. I'm happy to see some progress. I know that like even in like pregnancies, they use like certain kind of like race-based things to kind of say, hey, you shouldn't have like a vaginal pregnancy. That was the thing I was trying to find. But essentially they're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't use this. Maybe that's like the wrong kind of stuff to use. So I'm happy to see positive change. These are baby steps. You know, positive growth is better than no growth, right? And on that note, I know we will close it out. Let's see what else we got to do. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. And let's see here. Hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the comment section. Leave a cool comment. That's always appreciated. And let's see here. What else am I supposed to say? Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.